Well, with us today is Dr. Diana Kersten, and we're going to talk about something a little bit different, about a charity that she's involved with, that you go, and at least most recently, over to Africa, to Malawi, to help out folks there, right?
Right. This is the second time I've gone with this group. It's called Direct Connections to Africa, and it's based out of Laguna Beach. A friend of mine started the charity about 10 years ago. She was in Malawi with her husband, who's a federal judge, and she just fell in love with the people of this area. And it's when you go over, it's easy to fall in love with these people. They have nothing, yet they have huge smiles on their face. And so I went over with one of my technicians, Judy Alexander, and held clinics in really small rural villages.
Okay.
And got their glaucoma treated. This is one of our patients who has a mature cataract. I wasn't doing surgery on this trip. Often on this kind of trip I'll do surgery, but there wasn't the setup to do so. So I got integrated with the local medical community and I'm providing transportation to the cataract surgeon, who's quite good, who's about an hour away.
So is the cataract surgeon, is that person stationed there permanently?
He is. He's a government.
Okay.
Yeah, it turns out that in these little villages, they not only didn't know where to go with their eye problems, these are people that are blind from their cataracts, which we don't see in the States very often. They didn't know where to go. They didn't have the money to get there. So I have about 25 patients that I found with cataracts and glaucoma that needs surgery. And I'm providing treatment I'm providing transportation, and the surgery is provided by the government.
Now, looking at this photo here, this guy here looks fairly young.
Well, this is sad. Yeah, this isn't a cataract. This is keratomalacia. So you see this all the time in Malawi. Someone comes in, one eye looks white. You say, what happened? They said, well, when I had measles when I was a child, this just happened. So this is borderline, well, it's malnutrition plus measles will drop their vitamin A levels really low, and they'll develop that problem. The other thing we did on this trip was we through patients actually donating funds, we brought a slit lamp over to the main clinic in Mangochi, Malawi. The gentleman on the left is the local optometrist, and he's the one who decides who goes for surgery. And he sees thousands of patients a year, and he didn't have the most basic piece of equipment, which is this slit lamp that we somehow were able to put on the plane and get through all the customs. But it was a huge thing to bring that over for them, and it'll help to take care of all these patients.
So when you do go over and do surgery, as you have, do you folks bring equipment, or is there a portable trailer? How does that work?
Well, I work with all different groups. I work with Project Orbis that has a plane that, the hospital's on the plane. I work with CSEE, which is a group out of Santa Barbara, and that's the most recent group I've done surgery with. They send over all the surgical packs with us and a portable microscope. This is Judy Alexander, my technician, who went with me. So on this trip, though, since I've gotten involved with this group, there's no hospital to operate out of. There's no infrastructure to do follow-up. I'd like to do that in the future once it's more organized. These are really the poorest people in the world. Malawi is one of the most poor countries in the world, and this part of Malawi is especially poor. So I think in the future I'll probably work with surgical eye expeditions once I can set up a situation to do some cataract surgery there.
What is the logistics to set this up, especially in today's world, where you never know what type of government is there, what type of safety that you may have for obvious reasons? How do you go about that?
I'm just going to say a word about this picture. So Direct Connections to Africa, the group I went with, they do all kinds of things. And this is a well that was donated actually by a patient of mine. She donated money and wanted to know how it could best be used. And it turns out this village near where I was working, they had to walk 2 miles to get water and carry it on their head back to the village. So she insisted this well be put in my name, although she donated the funds. So there's so many great things they're doing to elevate this community. But to answer your question, if I'm going to do surgery, there has to be a really organized infrastructure. There has to be an ophthalmologist there that does cataract surgery, that can do the follow-up. They
right,
usually,
and that's an important part. Yeah.
Right, and in this area, we don't have that yet. I'm in communication with the cataract surgeon who's, an hour or so away, and in the future, I plan to coordinate it more surgically, but right now it's kind of more on the ground level. Direct Connections has really done more with educating students, and these are the students that help Judy and I. This is Chico on the left, Benito in the middle, and Mercy. And so all three of these students just finished high school, and they were only able to go to high school because of Direct Connections to Africa. Direct Connections goes over and interviews all these students. Their schooling ends at 7th grade unless they have funds to go to high school. And high school costs about $300 a year, which is way beyond what any rural farming family can afford. This is Chico helping with our clinic. And a year ago, I did the same project, and my helper was Prince. And I think his picture's coming up in a minute. And I became attached to Prince that I'm now putting him through college in Blantyre. He's going to become an accountant. He's already planning on putting his younger brothers and sisters through high school and really elevating the education of this whole area. So right now what I'm trying to do for Direct Connections to Africa is find sponsors who would be willing to give $10, $20, $30 to get Chico, this young man, and Benito, the other young man that we work with, funding for their college education. They've been admitted to the best college in Malawi, the University of Malawi chancellor. Chico wants to go to law school, and Benito, this is Prince, who my husband and I are currently putting through accounting college. It's very easy to go over and very much become attached to the people that you work with on these trips.
So as far as college, do they have to travel far, or it depends? Is there just one university in the country? How does that?
Well, and this is my student for high school. This is Sokazani. So the really sad thing is there's 18 million people in Malawi, and there's about 450,000 that graduate from high school every year. And of those, only 2,000 get to go to college.
Okay.
And it's all about funding. And the sad thing is that, like, in most very poor countries, there is a small group of extremely rich people. And their kids get to go to college. And none of these rural, smart kids have any opportunity whatsoever. And I see educating them as a way to elevate, the whole infrastructure of these rural, poor countries. This is, of course, I don't think anyone can hear this, but I have a video on generosity.com, which is a site that people can donate to. It's Generosity with an S. If you just Google Diana Kersten Malawi Generosity, it would come up.
Okay.
And I'm having friends and any interested people give $10, $20, $30, whatever they can afford to help finance Chico and Benito's education. We did this little video at the end of our last eye clinic in Malawi, and they translated and helped us through the entire trip.
So as far as you said translated, do they speak English over there?
All schooling's in English.
It is?
Yes.
Okay.
But most of the rural poor people we saw didn't speak any English.
Do they speak their own kind of village dialect or whatever it might be?
Mostly the most popular common language is Chiwa.
Okay.
But sometimes they'd have to translate from English to Chiwa to a third language that very few people speak. Because in the impoverished areas, people are literally pumping water at a well, carrying it, 2 miles. There's dirt floors. Most people, unfortunately, don't even send their kids through 7th grade because they can't afford to, because they need the kids to help in the fields. It's subsistence farming. This is a little break, and we took a 20-minute break in our eye clinic, and the kids in Malawi are so beautiful. They literally throng you and are so interested in Western people.
How often, you've mentioned you've gone over there before, how often have you been over there?
This was my second trip.
Okay.
But every year in May, the director, Mary Ellen Carter, who started this nonprofit, goes over to Malawi. And this is a view outside of a church that we visited. The people and the children are so lovely, and it's one of those humbling experiences when I go there, because they have so very little, and yet they greet you with these enormous smiles on their face, and they're very kind, and everyone in Malawi gets along very well. They have about 30% Muslim. Generosity.com.
Oh, there we are. Perfect.
If you go to that site and Google my name, or just Google Malawi, my little fundraising site comes up, and it's a really, really good cause to help to fund these,
That's fantastic.
impoverished young men to go to college.
Well, it's great that you do that. You just said impoverished young men. Can women go to college there?
Yes,
they can.
In fact,
okay.
Thokazani,
because I know certain countries,
Oh, they can. No.
They can. Okay.
In fact, one of the great things about Malawi, as I was saying, is there's a whole mix of Christian faiths: Catholic, evangelical, Pentecostal, but then the Muslim community gets along so well with the Christian community. There's a lot of intermarriage, and they have absolutely peaceful coexistence, which
That's
I think
great.
Is really wonderful. So it's a wonderful cause. It's direct connections to Africa, based in Laguna Beach. I plan to go again next May when the group goes, and see what I can do to help.
Well, fantastic. So again, generosity.com, and then if you go from there, you put in a Malawi or Diana Kersten's name, and if you'd like to help out, that's the way to do it. Great. Thank you for bringing the slides along, and good to see you as always.
Good to see you as well.
And I'm sure we'll see you again in the next few months, and certainly next year we'll get an update.
I hope so.
All right.
Thanks so
much.
much.
Thank you. Bye-bye. It's
Bye-bye.
always good to see you.
You too.
So that's what I was wondering, like even when the other